Hello everyone, George here, and once again we're back in FNAF, or my implementation of it. Here we are with the reference material as usual, and we need to do a few things before we finish the backstage room. At the moment I don't have my animatronics done, so we're not going to be using these faces in the animatronic endoskeleton. Instead we're going to be focusing on continuing to map things down with the textures and finalizing the cables, the employees only sign, and so forth. Hopefully this is a short and quick video. First thing I want to do is go ahead and load up Photoshop in the background while we're waiting. And while that's doing that, we're going to take a look at these cables and try to unwrap them. First thing I'm going to do is, right now they're all separate elements, so why don't we ignore Photoshop, grab all of them, if we can, and combine them into a single texture object. And then after we do that, well, since they're one object, they become one draw call, which makes things more optimized for our engine. So we can grab all of them. Let's go ahead and combine them into one object. There we are. We can see that we have some problems with the tops. So I'm going to go to vertex mode, grab all the top vertex elements, and bring them above the floor, the ceiling. And we are going to go and grab all the ones below that and bring them below the floor. That should give us enough to work with. Save the scene, and now F8. Since they're so flush against the wall, you're most likely not going to see them from multiple angles. So what I am going to do is go to UV mode and just do a planar mapping from the X direction. So let's do that. X, keep image width, ratio, height, apply, close that. Let's go to modeling and UV editor and take a look at what we have. So here are the UVs as they are, laid out perfectly in the world coordinates. So we can go exactly with that. Now, it's not perfect. They're not cylinders. We could take a lot of time if we wanted to and make, oh wow. Looking at these, let's get rid of the wireframe because they look inverted. So shading, X-ray is not on. So let's go to mesh display and go to reverse the normals. And there we are. Now we don't see the inside of these elements, something I had missed earlier. And that looks just fine. So now we can go into Photoshop, and we're going to need to mess with a few things. So we need a UV map first, but we're kind of wasting a lot of UV space here. So let's go to UV editor and take these objects, grab all of them by the UVs, and go to, let's see, the smooth UV tool. We get this little icon right here. And there we get to unfold, which isn't really doing anything for us, nor is unwrapping doing much of anything. And that's because it's planar. So what would be a better way to unwrap these? We need a slit down the back sides of each of these if we want them to fan out and basically become less distorted. The UVs on this are tremendously messy, and I think I'm just going to let it be whatever it is. So let's go ahead and just create a default texture that's going to work for us. And it doesn't have to be terribly high resolution. So that's too big. Let's go to new, and let's do a custom size of, let's do 2048 by 2048, which is twice as large as I expect us to actually be. Looking at the reference material, it's really not a whole lot's going on. It's relatively gray, not much else going on there. Some maybe bump mapping. Other than that, let's just fill this with a darkish gray. Shift F5, hit OK for the foreground color. And let's see if we can't find some reference imagery that's going to make us work out. So let's just do coil wire images, and let's go to tools, color, and I want to go with like a gray or a black. And this is pretty large. View image, copy that image, and I'm going to bring this in here, Control V. We can see it's small, but what I'm going to do is something like this. Scale it way up, because really all I want is that information right there. Apply, and we can kind of see these scratch marks going through the whole thing. And you know what? That's probably not going to work. Do we have a larger image we can work with? So going back, closing those coils, let's go to size larger than 4 megapixels. That's pretty big. That is very large. View image. Bring this over into Photoshop. There it is. Looking probably too large, but anyway, let's give it a go. Actually, it is too large. So let's not place this. Let's instead bring this into a new file. There we are. Let's rotate this image. Rotate image 90 degrees clockwise. Image size. Take this, go to pixels, and duplicate it both ways. So turn off locking. And let's grab this size and paste and hit OK. Now it's the same. Hit Control L. And that's not what I want. I actually want it to be darker, I think. Okay, so we have this. Let's go to filter, image size, and make this just something easy. Let's make it 5,000 by, even though that's not a power of 2, that's fine. 5,000 by 5,000. Other offset, and that'll be 2,500 by 2,500. Enter, and we can see our problem right here with the seam. And let's do this and stretch it out. And then let's cut it. Since we've stretched it out, we're just going to get those lines, and they're going to be far more linear than they were before. So there we go. They're a little bit closer to what they were before. So let's take all of you. You know what? Why are we even bothering with this? Why don't we just take the whole thing and do that? Apply and cut. Filter, other, offset. Okay. We see we have this. So let's just take that and push over. Apply. Cut. Whoops. Cut that down. Filter, other, offset. Pretty close. So Control A, Control Shift C, come back here, Control V. That is so not what that looks like. Bring this down to size, turn on snapping. So let's go to View, Snap, put it there, there to there, and let's just do something like this, and let's do a overlay maybe, or darken or multiply, something to bring out some coloration within this. Not really color because it's a black and white image, right? So it doesn't matter. Let's go on top of this. Yes, that's fine. Click here, go to levels, and the levels themselves. Ooh, that's bad. Something like that, maybe. Okay, and then let's just add some noise to the entire thing. New layer, pick something, and then Shift F5, enter, and select, filter, noise, add noise, monochromatic, okay, filter, blur, blur more, blur, 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 blur. That's good. That's not the right hotkey anymore, is it? Filter, Alt, Control F. So Alt, Control F, that makes it harder. Control F. Okay. There we are. So let's just do an overlay on that noise. And that's what we have. So let's go to File, Save As, PSD, YouTube. Let's just call this wires.psd. Okay, and let's do a... the last thing we might want to do to make the wires look different, because these lines run across straight, is to go to Liquify, zoom out a little bit, and actually, can I get... I want all the layers, not just that one. So let's go to Filter and Liquify, and this is the layer I really want. Let's increase the size of this a bit. And there we go. So let's just, too much. Let's go to size is fine. The density is way too high. Pressure. Let's just do something like this, I think. And then let's pull down anything that actually kind of came off screen. There we are. You, and you. And you go down too. Wonderful. And off, please. Thank you. And you're gone, and you're gone. We're good. Hit OK. And now we're left with at least something a little bit different. So let's go to File, Save As, PNG. And FNAF, let's go to Textures and Backstage Wires, save, OK, come back to Maya. Now that we've done that, we'll click on the wires, shift right click, or excuse me, just right click and go to Assign New Material. We'll go to Fong, we'll call this, let's edit delete by type first, history, and go to Fong, call this Backstage _ wires _ M, go to color, file, Backstage _ wires _ file, Control A, Control C, let us hit enter, go to the image name, go up and find that texture under Backstage and Backstage Wires. There we are. And now all we need to do, wow, you really can't even see those whites on the wires, so we might need to tweak this a bit. Let us also go to the place texture and hit this and just do text. Save, come back to Maya and adjust our levels after all. Something like this, save, file, save as, PNG. And taking a look, once it updates, there we go. At least we have something going on here. Next up is the employee sign right here. So if we look at our reference material right here, it just says employees only and the sign is black with a little bit of noise. So why don't we go ahead and do that? So file, new, we'll do the same thing as usual, custom black, we'll do very dark gray, shift F5, enter. It's the background, double click, hit OK. We'll make a new layer, shift F5, enter. We'll call this noise. Just so we have complete control, filter and noise, pixelate, excuse me, noise, add noise, make sure it's Gaussian and monochromatic, filter, blur, Gaussian, and that's good enough, filter, and then we'll add another layer of noise again, but I want to crank this down a bit. So I want 2 bits of noise, a thick noise and a thin noise. And once we have that, now it's just time for us to add the text. So let's do what? Employees only, employees only. It would be nice if we had a font that actually made sense. Whoops, so this one and you and control, that's my grid, that's way too much. So let's go to preferences and guides, grids, and slices. Under that, what we want to do is change this from pixels to percentages. And that's good with 4 subdivisions. That's, now I know where the center of this thing is at least. And that's where it is. So let's increase the size of this so we maximize our pixel usage. If we had multiple signs in this area, we'd be putting them all in one document, but we're not doing that. So employees only stays here. I believe it's white. It's a whitish color. So let's double click, hit cancel. Let's go here and do something like that. That's close enough. I am going to add a border, maybe a light border to it, and that's going to be a slightly, very close. Let's just call it close, and then just a little bit less. Okay, there we are. Let's click that. I'm going to save this. Let's right click and rasterize this, and I'm going to click it. Let's go to filter, and let's go to filter gallery. What I want to do is do a, let's see, ocean glass maybe. Let's turn the distortion way down and increase the smoothness quite a bit. I just want a little bit of variation in the texts in each individual letter. Let's zoom in. You're not seeing anything yet, are you? See, there's not a whole lot going on. If I reduce the scaling, what happens? Let's go with that. If we click on this now and go to filter and blur, blur, and then Control Alt, what is it, F, F, F a few more times. You really don't notice it, but it's there. Just a little bit of offness to the text. Now what we need to do is actually, I screwed this up because I should have made the text bigger earlier. We need to link these 2 layers actually. So hit apply, link them. Now we'll scale this up to somewhere like that. And technically scaling up is going to blur those edges a bit, so that's not bad for us. So that's what we have, employees only. And looking back, there's quite a bit of the sign actually that's, let's make this easy on ourselves. So something like that. Okay, apply. The sign is going to fill this space right here, so no problems. Save as. Let's go to FNAF, Photoshop once again, and Backstage, and just call this employees only. Enter, save, okay, good. File, save as, PNG, up, Photoshop, FNAF, and textures, Backstage, employees only, save, okay. Click on that sign, which is right there. Let's just do a UV, we'll do a planar right on it, planar, and we're going to come at this from the X direction. Hit apply, close, save, window, and we're going to go to UV editors, just make sure it's good there. We're going to keep that around for a second because we're going to right click now and go to add new material, Fong. This is going to be backstage underscore employees only underscore M. Whoops. Click that again, go to the attribute editor. Where is that? There it is. And let's find this thing. Where are you? There you are. Control A, Control C, edit, delete by type, because it looks like we have some history on that thing. And once we've done that, we go to color, file. The file is that text, enter, and then we'll go to file and do this and just file. So they have unique names. Click on the file and grab employees only, and it's backwards. Great. So grab this, come over here, right click UVs, grab all of them, and we're going to flip flop this thing around. So let's do flip. There we go, and it works. By the way, I am using Maya 2017 LT outside of Steam because they removed it, and you'll notice that my UV tools went back to the way they were instead of the way a few videos ago they were, where I had a menu on the side, and I am incredibly happy for that because it sucked. So anyway, those are the menu. Actually, that looks like crap on the side. So let's go to Window, Modeling, UV Editor, come back over here, right click, go to Edge Mode, and see if we can't grab some of these edges that are causing us problems. So this edge, right click Edge Mode, whoops, edge, that edge, grab it and pull it out, and once again do the same thing for the top and the bottom, and we can just use the scale tools, pull those two out as well, and then we'll come to the other side, grab you, and just pull you out an arbitrary amount, and save you, close you, and you're done. Great. So anyway, while I did that, technically the room, the ceiling needs to be redistributed properly, I believe. So let's go to face, grab you. I don't know. I can't remember if I did this right. Nope, that's definitely not right. So let's go to UVs and planar. And let's just do best, apply, U, G, apply. And that looks about right. So F8 twice, save. You can't tell, so it's got to be good. Floor looks good, that looks good, this is good. So I believe the last thing we really need to do is these long UV coordinates on the wooden areas, the shelves. So let's go ahead and hide some of these elements. And I want to do, I guess, half at a time. So I'm going to combine all of them. I'm going to combine all of them as well on the two different sides. I'm going to go to face mode. We're going to tackle this from the top. And let's go to all of you. Yes, okay. And now that being said, what do these look like? These side bits. Those look fine from the side. They just look horrible from everywhere else. So can I do something like this without, and then let's do UV planar, and let's not select U, Y, apply, wait, bounding, apply. And if I do U, U, and U, and hit apply, what do we get? I'm trying to be a wee bit lazy. Okay, so let's try this. So let's grab these elements, open up the window modeling UV editor, and see what we're dealing with. So shell, so if I grab shell, it's not helping me in the least bit now, is it? These elements, so let's just grab them again from up here. So so that's all of you, which are right there. So let's do a rotation of 90 degrees right there. So now that looks like that, which makes more sense technically, doesn't it? So let's grab the same thing again from the top. So faces, you, and you get rotated 90 degrees, and then we'll close that out. Whoops, that's not what I want. This is what I want. F8, save. Oh, we got a disjoint right there. We probably need to flip one over the axis so that they mirror over properly. So let's do window, modeling, UVs again. Come back to the top over here. Grab one of these two. Let's go to shell mode. Let's see, UVs, shell, how about that? And let's do a flip-flop going that way. And then let's look at it again from here. And that didn't work. So let's try this again. Nope. Nope. Is it in the wrong place? Yes, it is. It's not lining up with the other set. So let's just do something like that. There we are. Pretty close. There's a little bit of a line there. It's something we can come back and fix later on. It's not a big issue. I'm going to go with it because most likely you'll never be able to get close enough to see it. So I'm going to grab all of this now, Control duplicate it, rotate it 90 degrees, because there's no reason for us to do the work twice. And what is this? I don't want that. That menu's bad. Let's do 90. Enter W and D to the back and V, and move this over here, and V to the back over there, and just move this into place as shelving somewhere there. If I duplicate this a second time, move this in, we'll notice that the shelving is a little bit too much. So what we'll probably do is just fake it and scale it down. Why not? You'll never notice. No one playing the game will ever notice. Okay, twice, save, and there we are. Okay, so with that, we've basically finished the rough outline of this entire room. In the next video, we'll import this over into the main scene. But before we do that, we'll go through our outliner, because you can see we have a lot of things like curves and so forth we need to delete and get rid of before we move it over, and make sure everything is named properly. I hope you enjoyed this video. Once again, if you liked it, give me a like. If you didn't like it, don't just give me a dislike, but let me know why. And of course, feel free to comment below and ask questions. And always subscribe. I'll see you all next time. So long. Goodbye.